Hello from the Yarn Closet in St. David, Arizona. I am Laura. We have a special guest, a Pumpkin. I will introduce you in a moment. I am Yarn Closet AZ on Instagram. The Yarn Closet over on Patreon. You can follow us for free, and me, whatever. Lots of free downloaded patterns, knit, crochet, loom knit, what to do with a sock tube. Someday, some machine knitting ones, if I just can write them down. Sorry about how bright it is, Arizona, and we're having a cloudy day. I think it's been a while. It feels like it's been a month. I don't think that's the case. Let me introduce you to Pumpkin. Hey, little Pumpkin. Hey, little Pumpkin. Hey, Pumpkin. Hey. Hey. Yeah, I love my Pumpkin. Pumpkin is so cute. Pumpkin baby, hi. So, some of you have been around for a while and understand that I live in a mobile home that is ground set, that had an addition put on it. So we have this funny addition off of our kitchen that goes into another bathroom, a laundry room, a large pantry, and then a room we call the pink room because it has pink carpeting. This room is about 600 square feet. And we put a screen door on the doorway. And this is where Pumpkin has been recuperating because let me tell you the story. So we live on a 1-acre pecan farm. We have a little hobby farm. Some chickens. We inherited a barn cat. And she had some babies shortly before we moved in, but we found out about them weeks later. And so we've continued to have outdoor cats. They have a very short life expectancy, something like 2 to 5 years. Of her original 6 babies and who we think the father is, I occasionally still see the mother and the father and 3, maybe 4 babies. I'm pretty sure one of her babies had babies, and out of the original 4, we know 1 is dead, and we see the other 2 a fair amount, but there's 1 we don't see very often. And there are just like hundreds of barn cats between the main road, and then our road is a dead end, and there's 2 streets that go off the dead end off our road. And our road is exactly half a mile long. I figured that out this week, so I can get a little bit more serious about my walking. And we have some neighbors who had some outdoor cats. They moved in recently, brought some outdoor cats that were more like indoor-outdoor. And then they had an older child who moved in and had some indoor cats that she just let outside. Pumpkin was one of them. And I just always knew that he was more of an indoor cat. And he'd been acting like for the last month, kind of whenever I'd see him, he'd be like, I'm done. Just let me in. Let me in. So I hadn't seen him, and I didn't always see him every day. But he liked to lay out in our shade because we have all these trees, these pecan trees, and we let our 6 little chickens free roam during the day. So he'd lay out in the grass under the trees with the chickens. He didn't care. So, we'd see him. It wasn't like I was always feeding him or anything, but I am one of the people who will put food and water out during the day. Today is Wednesday. Not last Saturday, the Saturday before. So this upcoming Saturday will be 2 weeks. I heard this horrendous sound. Think Marley's ghost from A Christmas Carol and the chains. And then I looked down And here's little Pumpkin, who is like dehydrated, emaciated, and has his foot in a snap trap. Snap trap. You step in it, gotcha. It's very rusty, it's very old. But the way it was set recently. We're pretty sure we actually know who set it. And we're pretty sure they actually set it for catching any of the variety of hundreds of cats that roam. Because other than the one neighbor, most of the people around here have either small hobby farms or actually bigger functioning farms. So they do have barns and they do have all these cats, but the cats keep the snakes away because they keep the other rodents away that draw the snakes in. I know, trap, neuter, release. If I could drive a car, I might. But I'd be constantly trapping and transporting animals. And so here he is. He's got this foot caught. He's obviously, I mean, it's been 3 days at that point since I'd seen him. Bring him in. It's just before 5 in the morning. My husband's sleeping. He sleeps in the mornings. Usually try to let him do that. And I just am like, honey, I need you right now. I need you right now. He had a hard time even getting it open. And I have no gruesome pictures of that actual thing, but I have a picture of the actual trap. So I'll put that at the end of the video if you want to see it. Then I got a hold of the neighbor on Facebook. It took a couple of hours before we actually got communicating. And hold on. Chip, Chip. Come here, Chip. Come here, Chip. Chip, Chip. Come on. Come on, Chip. So it took a couple hours before we actually got communicating, and here's Chip. He's the only animal we've allowed in here in the last couple days because he could care less about cats. We already have 2 indoor cats. And I talked to the neighbor and I just said, if you're not prepared to have a 3-legged cat, we'll adopt him and just take him right now. So they were not, and so we immediately took him into the emergency vet. He couldn't even get surgery that day, so he had to wait for just over 24 hours to get surgery. And he got his front right leg removed. It's your front right leg, right? And he got neutered. He gets his stitches out in 2 days. That'll be about 2 weeks. And he's doing pretty good. I mean, he's getting up to this level on here. There's one more level above there. He's moving around. He's still medicated because we have no idea how painful this is. And they take the whole shoulder blade. I wasn't quite prepared for that, so it's very kind of odd. Chip is smelling all the cat stuff. This is the first time he's been on the floor in here. But it's very kind of odd. But he's 3-legged now. It's not as big of a deal when it's the front leg, I guess. But scratching and climbing is not exactly going to be his thing. And so now we have 3 inside cats, 3 inside dogs, 2 inside children, and 6 outside chickens. Chip, 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 chip. Come here, Chip, Chip, come here. Come here, Chip, Chip, come here. Hi, Chip, Chip. Go lay down. You want to lay down? You gotta lay down somewhere. What are you doing? What are you doing? Do you need to actually go outside? Okay, I'll give you a little view of, see, pink carpet, pink room, screen door, Rusty. Come on, Chip. Come on. It has a magnetic closure we put in. Okay, Chip didn't want to go outside. He just didn't want to be in there anymore. So there's a magnetic closure. So the dogs can't actually, it's not in the frame. It's actually a little bit bigger. So the dogs can't even push the door in. The cat could potentially push the door out if he wanted to. We just don't think that's going to happen. He also will at times lay, these are floor-to-ceiling windows. He'll lay next to there and see some of the cats that he did see from outside. And he does play with toys, and he is in a good place. So we're actually quite happy. I loved this cat more than any of the cats. Chip, you're either in or you're out. Don't growl at me. But this is a knitting, crochet, yarn, life podcast. So I have this interesting yarn. It's a cotton blend, Serena. And I'm using 2 strands of it and a 5mm, this is blue, a 5mm hook. And I'm simply, I just can't stand that I've never gotten something out of this yarn that I loved. So I'm just making a long rectangle, and then I'm going to border the rectangle and close it so I have a kind of shrug and crochet. And it's just a simple single crochet. I'm not sure what the border is going to be, but it might be single crochet in the back loop, which gives kind of a ribbing look. I like that look for some reason. So I'm working on that. Do we love the hair? We love the hair. I've not even done anything today. I mean, I brushed it. And everybody tells me that it's so cute and it's so me and it so fits. The funny thing is, I look in the mirror and I think, who is that? But I do like it. I like the ease of it. I like that I can still put it back a little bit. I will probably go grow it a little bit longer and have it at a longer state, but still short, you know, a couple inches longer maybe. Because I really am liking the ease of it and not sitting on my hair and pulling my neck. Those of you who have the longer hair and do that, you'll know. It's cooler because my neck's actually exposed. But we've had a heat wave, and you know that, you've probably had one too. But our AC went out. We have what's called a gas pack, and we have a very old gas pack. And so our AC went out, and, you know, $8,000 to replace it because it's gas, electric, heating and cooling. And we were like, no. But it was old enough that my husband found a motor and was able to get the motor replaced, and it works again. So yay for handy guys who know what they're doing. Chip, I told you, you're either in or you're out, man. You're in or you're out. Let's try this one more time. What? You coming in? Not you. Chip, you wanna come in? All right, let him eat some cat food. So thankfully that has worked. The nice thing is we do have this separate room that had the air conditioning. So it wasn't, I mean, we certainly weren't in the worst place. And we've recently gotten a backup generator and a backup solar and wind power generator. We do tend to have more outages here than we did in Tucson. And you know that I feel for people who don't have AC this year, because that heat was oppressive, and we had plenty of fans going, and we'd open up in the evenings and the nighttime and it would cool off. I mean, I had every blind shut in the other part of the house. So, I mean, it was tolerable, but it was still oppressive. You can't do quite as much. And in that, it's just been a hot summer, so it's been hard to do projects. So I've been doing smaller things. I had this idea. So, you know, you get a sock tube and you do an afterthought heel. I decided to go in and unroll and to do, instead of an afterthought heel, some people call it a peasant heel, but you're not wrapping and turning, you're just turning. So you get the same shape of a heel. And then I'm gonna do garter stitch, because I really like this garter stitch cuff on short socks. But this is actually a very, very easy heel to remember and to do. I'm gonna have to do it a bunch of times, but then you know exactly where to go in for your toe. And if you have a really short tube, you could actually do a heel in a separate color right off the end of that tube, a cuff in a separate color, and a toe in a separate color. I mean, my Dean and Bean printed sock machine, like I'm going to be on the printers next week sometime. I'm so excited. So I'm going to have many more sock tubes in my future. And I just want to have something that's easy to do. Then I thought, well, what would be easier if I didn't have to remember the knitting and the purling and stuff would be to do it in garter stitch. Because for me, it wouldn't bother me to have a garter stitch heel. And some people do a garter stitch toe. But what I'm finding is that the fabric is just not as dense. So I know I'd blow it out way too fast. But see, what you basically do is you work off of one side, you grow the triangle, and then, or decrease the triangle, and then you grow the triangle back until you're working in the round again. So I'm going to go back and do this one in the same way. I just had to try it. I just had to. But I really do like this. And see, it was quite easy, even with the knitting and the purling, because basically you're just working off that one side. You're working off half the stitches. Oh, for crying out loud. So see? And now this tube is a little bit bigger than I would normally wear. So it's a little bit looser. But it fits pretty nicely. Pretty nicely. So maybe I will just do ribbing on this one to actually get it a little tighter on the ankle. And then what I tend to do for a lot of mine is I will realize that my toe is going to be, I'll pull it tight, and I'll realize that my toe is going to end at the light green. So I'll stick my needles in, you know, about the dark green, and I'll start to do some decreases, but I won't do a huge amount of decreases because I have a very flat foot and long. So I only do a few decreases to pull it in. This ended up being a little bit more pointy of a heel than I was intending. but it worked up very fast, very easy. The only reason I'm not more further along is because I wanted to show you at that stage. And that's it. That's all I got. I think I finished one other set of what Kay over at Bakery Bears calls wristlets. So they're wrist warmers without the thumb holes for the fingerless gloves. I believe I'm going to put just thumb holes in for the fingerless gloves and make them all that option where you can either wear them as the wrist warmers or up over your thumb. That seems to be the most popular one when I make it for people or whatever. And I need to turn the air conditioner back on in here. And I think I heard a small person back there. So look with your heart first this week. I am going to toss a few pictures of the cat on at the end of here. None of them are overly gruesome. That's all I know. Supervised cone-free time. He's doing really well. He gets his staples out on Friday. He's not messing with his neuter at all. Boop, 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 boop. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Nope, 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 nope. Good boy. See, it's all going for the fur. Good boy.